starting in 1978. Mr. John Burke here. Now, I want to thank John and Elena, of course, for being part of all of our lives and you know, a family to all of us and everything, and a mentor to me personally. But John is now on his third retirement for this. So
It's this guy here.
yeah, so because he's now, you know, I do this regularly. I stand up and thank John and so on. So what I really want to do tonight is direct my comments to Gary Davis and of course to Gene, who's been such a wonderful part of all of our lives. And as you know, Gary came to Lawyers Mutual having been a managing partner of a law firm with a lot of experience. And I'll just tell you a few stories about Gary while I'm up here. But a lot of experience about hiring and firing people. And when I joined Lawyers Mutual, Tom very kindly hired me, brought me in, had a lot of faith in me. I think Gary had less faith in me. With that said, I had 4 years of working with Gary, but not 8 weeks into the job. And in my case, having never hired or fired anybody. I was sort of a lone wolf working in a large company. Gary said to me towards the end of October, I think it was, and I literally had been there 8 weeks, and he said, "We're having problems with somebody in the underwriting department." And he said, I think it's gonna, it's a problem. She may have to go. And scroll forward, I don't know, 10 days, and it's October 31st, Halloween. Some of you know this story. And in Lawyers Mutual, we have a tradition of always dressing up on Halloween. And I arrive. Yeah, Gary is Richard Nixon. I arrive as my but not knowing anything's happening today, I arrive as Indiana Jones on my very first. I have a hat. I even have a whip. I'm all ready to go. I walk into the office, and Gary goes, I kind of think we need to get rid of her today. And I said, wait, what? And he says, you'd be perfect at this. And I knew he was testing me to see what I was made of. So standing there with my whip, my hat, I march off, and I said, why does it have to be today, Gary? But I didn't want to sound weak. And he says, the end of the month is always the best day to do these things on. So I march off and sadly have to fire someone on the day. But I know he was testing me and seeing what I was made of.
Did you take the hat off?
No, I left the hat on because I thought in fact it is sort of jaunty angle. Yes, I know.
She was dressed up in a ski outfit.
Yes, she was. She was dressed up. Yeah. Anyway, so
Time to go skiing.
yeah, and Nacho very helpfully appeared with a box for her possessions, wearing some scary mask. So the whole thing was kind of unbelievable. But that being said, and I want to relay one more tale because that was the firing part. And Gary had a lot of history with personnel and personnel matters that I didn't have. So on the hiring part, we were looking for a new executive assistant at that time. And a lot of you know this story, but some of you don't. So, and even if all of you do, I'm going to tell it anyway. So we interview a couple people. We interview two women in particular. Gary and I interview them together. And at the end of the interview, he says, well, what do you think? And I said, well, I think that this person, I don't know. I mean, maybe she was good, maybe she'd be good. And he said, look, I got to be honest with you. He said, I'm leaving the company. This is going to be your executive assistant. So ultimately, it's your decision. But if you want to know, I think you should hire Michelle. And I said, well, I'm kind of on the fence. Not also true, but nonetheless, it showed what good sense Gary has because, of course, this whole evening was put together, and everything that we do is supported by wonderful Michelle. So thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Gary, for having the foresight. But the reason I bring these things up is Gary, you are a great mentor to me, continue to be so. I learned a lot of things in the 4 years that you and I worked together.